Hey guys, it's Nate Charles. Back with an extra thought of the day today. This is a thought of the day supplemental start date 2025 08/19. A little homage to my Trekkies out there. Anyway, I'm making this additional thought of the day today to announce that we're doing something pretty exciting here at Charles International Law. I said a few weeks ago that these thoughts of the day were sort of an experiment, and that experiment has actually proven to be pretty valuable to people. People seem to like these relatively short format videos, these vlog posts. So we're going to make it a thing, and in fact, we're even going to publish it as a podcast. So you'll be able to download the audio from these videos as a podcast for you to listen on whatever podcasting platform you prefer. We hope that you will. We hope you enjoy it. For those of you who are new to this channel, new to my vlog, and new to my podcast, I just want to introduce myself a little bit for those of you who don't know my background and what I represent. Again, my name is Nathan Charles. I'm an attorney. Grew up in Pennsylvania. I went to the United States Naval Academy and graduated in 2001. In fact, just a few months before 9/11. I was fortunate enough to be selected for training to become a Navy SEAL by my time at the Naval Academy. I was one of about 16 guys from our class of just under 1,000 to be selected for that training pipeline. I was in that training on 9/11. And in fact, 9/11 was clearly one of the most significant dates in my life, as it was for a lot of people. I spent the next 6 years, 6.5 years actually, on regular active duty as a U.S. Navy SEAL, fighting in places like Afghanistan, but also Colombia and a lot of other places in the Middle East. Doing train, advise, and assist operations in those places where there wasn't active combat going on. I got out with the hope of becoming an attorney, like my father, who is the former district attorney of Lebanon County and now a sitting judge on the Pennsylvania Court of Common Pleas. I did. I got into law school at American University in Washington, D.C. But while I was there in Washington, D.C., I also got picked up for a job at the U.S. Defense Department, at the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, working on programs to reduce the threat of weapons of mass destruction, proliferation, and use by terrorist organizations. And so I kind of went right back into my former role as a special operator, working with U.S. Special Operations Command to develop war plans to address WMD threats, which was a lot of fun and something that I never really anticipated doing in my life, but ended up enjoying quite a bit. While I did that, I went to law school at night. And when I got done with my law degree and I took the bar, I clerked for the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania for a year. Now, while I was clerking for the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, I went into the reserves. I started working for the Reserve SEAL team down in Virginia Beach on my weekends and significant other periods of time, and actually got pulled back onto active duty 3 times over the next 10 years. So my time in special operations was not over when I got off of regular active duty. In fact, it was just getting started. One of those mobilizations, I went down to SEAL Team 6 in Virginia Beach and was served in a staff position at SEAL Team 6 for another year and ended up deploying back to Afghanistan all over again. Ironically, I was in Afghanistan. When I left Afghanistan for the last time, it was just a few days short of the 10-year anniversary of the date that I first deployed to Afghanistan. So my time involved in combat operations in Afghanistan spanned over a decade. Anyway, after my time, after I would demobilize from SEAL Team 6, I went to go work for the U.S. Department of Justice in the National Security Division, making use of my extensive national security experience. I went to go work for the Counterintelligence and Export Control Section of the U.S. Department of Justice. At the time I joined, it was still called the Counterespionage Section. Um, that was a very interesting job. I worked there for about 5 years, working on counterintelligence issues, but even more working on counterproliferation issues. Again, going back to my time with the Department of Defense, working on prosecuting arms dealers and people who were dealing in technology that could support weapons of mass destruction programs. I left that job in 2020, right as COVID was starting to become a problem. Not really the greatest time to switch jobs, but I took advantage of a program that sent me to rural Alaska for about 6 months, I went up to rural Alaska for about 6 months and worked as a prosecutor up there, providing criminal law enforcement and prosecution to an underserved rural community in Alaska. When I came back from Alaska, I actually mobilized back to active duty again and served as the deputy commander of the crisis action team for the U.S. Navy dealing with the COVID crisis. Again, taking advantage of some of my experience with the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, where my work touched on biological warfare threats. I got to put some of that knowledge to use to help mitigate the COVID crisis. Right about the time that I demobilized from the COVID crisis in 2021, I started my own law firm. Not entirely sure what I was going to do with my practice, but quite sure that I wanted to start my own business and practice law the way that I knew it should be practiced, and to apply a level of rigor and intelligence and sophisticated advocacy that I knew I was capable of, to real world clients who who honored me by hiring me. Shortly after I uh, hung my shingle and started my law firm, I was approached by a group of former special operations personnel and former intelligence officials that I had tangentially worked with over the previous 20 years, and who told me, look, we're pretty sure that Afghanistan is going to fall a lot faster than the government is letting on. And so we're starting a nonprofit organization to help get these guys out and provide them support, provide support to the people that we have been training, advising, and assisting in Afghanistan for the previous few decades. Um, sure enough, they were 100% correct. Kabul fell in a matter of hours when the government was calling for it to fall within months. And all of a sudden, overnight, there was a group of former special operations personnel, former intelligence agents, and former people who had supported our war effort in Afghanistan for the previous 20 years, who were political refugees. Those people turned to me and they said, "What do you know about immigration law?" I said, "Very little, but I'm a pretty quick study." And that's exactly what happened. I ended up pursuing additional training, so quite a bit of self-study, but also some formal training through the Mennonite Central Committee back in my hometown, or back near my hometown of Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and became an immigration attorney, specifically working on the types of cases that these Afghans were going through, where there was a connection between national security, human rights, and high risk asylum cases. And that's been the focus of my practice ever since. We do some additional things. We've worked on some other human rights, some other civil rights cases, um, other cases where large corporations have really been victimizing individuals, and I've found my passion. I have found my passion at the intersection of human rights and national security, and I love to help people resettle in the United States when they have faced legitimate humanitarian crises overseas. I love what I do. Um, this podcast is about all those things. It's about national security. It's about the law. These videos are going to be me expounding on my thoughts on national security, on what's going on with the political situation in the United States, but all sort of orbiting around those concepts of national security and humanitarian rights. Um, I'm honored to have you along on this journey with me. I don't entirely know where this is going to go, but I love doing it. I love posting these videos. I love coming up with this content. I love digging into these issues and doing deep dives on things so that I really understand it as an attorney, and so that I can help the public understand it as conscientious Americans and as voters. I just get a real kick out of doing this. I'm really happy to have you here, and I'm hoping that you will subscribe to this vlog, subscribe to my Substack, follow me on social media, and download these podcasts so that we can and end up having a conversation about what the future of America looks like and what it should look like, and how we shape the world around us to become the world that it should be. Um, Thank you. I'm grateful for your participation in this with me. I'm grateful to have you as an audience, and I look forward to your comments on everything that we do here.